Hey everybody, it's Kim. Welcome back to the Court Reporters Cafe. This particular interview is so awesome. It is someone who I met a couple of years ago, who I had the privilege to do some real time for at the California Court Reporters Association in Palm Springs. And I was so happy because she got to see voice writing for the first time and real time. And I also got to be in a room full of machine writers and a few voice students. And I just jumped on the opportunity to go out there, excuse me, and um, be able to show off what it is that voice writers do. Now, that put aside, we're all court reporters. We just have different methods. And Whitney Kumar happens to be a machine writer. And if you don't know her name, you might want to move zip codes because she is a rock star in the court reporting world. She is Judge Judy Shanlon's court reporter on Judy Justice, and she is just an amazing person. She is sweet, she is open, she is I just feel happy being around her. She has that kind of personality. And when I asked her to come on the podcast, she didn't hesitate. She had a lot going on, of course. She's recording, and then she also owns a court reporting firm with her twin sister, Cameron. And I wanted to know more about her. When I was doing her real time, I didn't get a chance to just listen to who she is personally and everything that she has accomplished professionally. So I hope that you can just sit back and enjoy this interview. I know that she will be at the NBRA conference in July in Buena Vista, California. So I hope if you're in the area, you get a chance to go and see Whitney talk. And she's so personable that I'm sure she will come over and say hello to everybody, but I hope you enjoy this. I could have kept her on for another hour. We were just getting started, I felt like. So hopefully I'll have her on again with any updates going on in her life and what's new. But enjoy this podcast and let me know if there's anything else you want to hear about. There's so much to talk about, but I am willing to take in any kind of suggestions that anybody has. So enjoy, and I'll see you soon. Hey, Whitney.
Hey Kim,
How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm tired, and I know that the world can't see us right now, but I look a little bit on the homeless side. Um,
Oh no, I
I'm
feel
just
you.
tired. What's funny is I record sometimes on my drive into work because it takes me an hour to go to work, and I'll record on TikTok and I'll be like, "Thanks for joining me." And I've got this great interview coming. This is what I did this morning, and I look so put together. And then when I do recording at night, I'm like my tongue's hanging out. There's drool
I
coming
know.
down,
You're like, what happened? It looks like I've been
mascara.
through something, something heavy today.
It's like,
Oh,
God, it was probation violation day. And
well,
everybody who's a
that's it.
court reporter on TikTok goes, oh, yeah, I get
Yep,
that.
I get it. I get it. Hmm.
Well, anyways, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it so much. I know you told me that you were at home working today, but what I want to do is I kind of want to get into a little bit of how you got started as a court reporter. I've heard some of your stuff before because I real time some of your stuff, but I want to let everybody hear your voice and what it is that brought you into this.
Yeah, so core reporting kind of came to me in a sort of funny way. I'd actually never even heard of a court reporter before, and it was I was in college and I was in a computer class and I was in a junior college. I still didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do something in a professional environment, something that was impactful, something meaningful. I didn't really know what that was going to be. And I was in junior college and I was thinking I'd probably be a business major. And so I'm in this computer class one day and I'm writing away and I loved to type. I just loved typing. I used to volunteer to type up my friends' notes, their papers. And so I'm in this computer class and I make this comment to a friend of mine sitting next to me. I go, "What can I do where I just type all day? I love it so much." And she goes, "You should be one of those court reporters." And I said, "Well, what's a court reporter?" She said, "No, they write on those little machines. You see them in court." And I go, I really don't know anything about that. So I have an uncle who's a district attorney in downtown LA. And so I gave him a call when I got out of class and I said, "Hey, do you know anything about this court reporting profession?" He goes, "Yeah, it's a great profession. They can make more money than us and the judges." And I said, "What?" Yeah, I said, "How have I never heard of
Oh,
this? It sounds incredible." And so I started looking into it and I found this court reporting school near me, surprisingly. And so I made an appointment, went down, I talked to a counselor, and it just kind of checked every box that I was looking for in a career. Getting to be part of this legal system, something pretty profound, working with kind of the greatest minds, in California and being part of something bigger. And so I was like, this is what I want to do. And so I was just about to transfer to my 4-year college, and I decided to go the court reporting route. And I told my mom, I said, and my mom and dad, I came home one day and I said, "Okay, I think I'm gonna go to court reporting school. I don't think I'm gonna go to finish out and get my degree." And so my mom just started crying. She goes,
oh,
"What? Why can't you just get a degree like everybody else?" And
oh
she
my
just was
God.
freaked out, just absolutely freaked out, thought I was ruining my life. And so I really was kind of shocked and thought, "Oh my gosh, am I making the wrong decision?"
Well,
My
I'm sorry, but I have to say this. It's not like you were going to work on Sunset Strip on the
I
corner.
know. I know. I think she just thought like she just thought, "Oh, you got to do the traditional route.
Right.
Go get your bachelor's and and do something." It was kind of like, and I think it's just the fear of the unknown. Like nobody
Sure.
knows what court reporting is. It's really this hidden profession.
It
And
is.
so I think that fear of the unknown is what really scared her, just kind of, what is my daughter doing? Kind of,
Yeah.
and so I had to really think about it because at the time I was still very tight, very close. I'm still very close to my parents, but I still really valued everything they said. Just had to, I followed the rules.
Sure. And how
And
old were you?
I mean, I was I was 19,
Yeah.
20, 19. Yeah, I was
Okay.
probably 19, 18, 19.
Okay.
Um, and so I thought, "Oh gosh, I can't disappoint my parents." And so
Right.
I then I ended up ultimately making this decision to just, this is my life. I'm going to go for it. And there was something that just really drew me to it. And so I did. I ended up going to court reporting school and I ended up falling in love with it. I absolutely loved it. I finished in a little over a year and a half.
Well,
And
that's great.
yeah, and it ended up being the best decision I ever made. And now to this day, I laugh at my mom, and she's always like, "I know, I what if
Yeah.
I listened to you, mom, and I just got that boring degree? Just who knows what I'd be doing?" Now I'm like, got 2 Emmys on my shelf. I travel all the
Yeah.
time. I've got the coolest life. This court reporting has taken me on all kinds of adventures, which we'll probably get
Sure.
into. But so yeah, my mom always laughs, going, "God, I remember you telling me, oh, court reporting is going to be so fun and take me on all these adventures in my life." And she goes, "Oh, right. Yeah. Court
You're
reporting sounds
right.
super exciting. And then here I am, in other countries reporting depositions and getting flown private plane to do
Yes.
trials. I'm on a TV show. And she goes, "Wow, I
Yeah.
was really
That
wrong
was
about that."
really wrong. Listen, the fact that your mother could admit that she was wrong is progress in the world of us
True.
women with our mothers, But
It's
I mean,
very
I
true.
understand completely. For years, I was a cosmetologist for 25 years. I taught it, I did it, I inspected places, I did the whole nine. And for me, it was like all of a sudden it just kind of fell in my lap and I fell in love with it. So I get what you're saying. I
Yeah.
do. I mean, it's something that is so personal to you, right?
Right. Yeah, and I think you kind of, I don't know, I think growing up you sort of have this idea of what you're supposed to do in your life, and
Yeah.
you go and get these degrees, and this is how, then I go get this job and I work my way up, and I buy a house, and it's like there's
Have
and
a
I
couple of
think court
kids.
yeah, I
Yeah.
have a couple kids and I do this, I
Mhm.
save up, I have retirement. I mean, there's just kind of these things that these societal things that we think that we're supposed to follow. And I think I grew up in that, I did grow up in that kind of a household. And
Did.
so for me, court reporting did feel like a very big leap because it was just such an unknown thing to all of us. And I made just a sudden career choice, because court reporting
Yeah.
isn't like you don't have, oh, I'll figure out what I want to do. No, it was like I am studying to be a court reporter, and all of a sudden I picked my career at a
Yeah.
very young age, and I just went for it.
And it's so specific. It's
It's
not,
yeah,
I mean, you have two options, right? I mean, well, you entered into a third, but you have this option of, do I freelance or do I official? What do I do? But to me, it was just feel good knowing that no parent has ever disowned a child for becoming a court reporter, right? So
oh yeah,
you're good. You're good. You've proven yourself and you're good. Well,
I
how
know.
was it you or your sister who got involved first? Because you have a twin sister.
I do. I have an
Yeah.
identical twin sister who's also a court reporter, and I found it first. I discovered it first, and I was in court reporting school for about a year, and then my sister was still trying to figure out what she wanted to do, and I was loving school, and so I was talking to her about it, and she decided to go for it too, and so she started, yeah, a little over a year after me. So I was kind of just getting out as she was starting.
Gotcha. And so at that point, did you kind of like join together or were you already on a specific journey?
We were on two different journeys, very, very different paths actually, because I got out of school. I did depositions for about a year and a half, and then there was an opening in LA Superior Court, and I knew I always wanted to go to court. So as soon as there was that opening, I went and I applied, took the test, and I started working as an official. So then, when my sister got out, she started doing the freelance thing and just stayed doing freelance. So we really didn't have any crossover. We were just both core
Oh,
reporters on two different paths. And the only reason why we ended up joining paths is because of the layoffs that happened at LA Superior Court. There was the budget cuts that happened in California, and they ended up eliminating all the court reporters in civil
and what year
courtrooms.
was that?
That was in 2011,
Oh, wow.
2011. And so, or 2013, right around there. And
Mhm.
so I got laid off, and I was absolutely devastated. I thought that I was going to be I thought I was going to retire there. I loved
Yeah.
my judge. I loved working for the courts. I just
Mhm.
had the perfect spot. I just was so happy, and I had just gotten back from maternity leave actually, and I had been gone for 4 months. I went back and I found out I was going to get laid off 2 weeks later
Oh,
after coming back.
heartbreaking.
It was heartbreaking. I thought, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to go back to freelancing. I liked this so much.
Mhm.
And so I ended up going though right back into court, but now, as a private reporter, and I was getting hired by clients now and to report. So I was right back in court, but now I was billing everything on my own. And that's when Cameron and I joined forces, and we thought, well, why don't we do this together? Why don't I was now billing my own clients. I kind of had my own thing going. I had all these big agencies calling me, trying to help train them on how to now navigate court, how to bill
Mhm.
it, how to appeals work, and then we thought, well, why am I giving all these secrets away to these big box agencies?
Yeah.
And so she started doing depots for clients while I was doing the motions and trials. And then pretty soon we started growing. And now we've been in business for 11 years.
Gosh, how
Had our
great
own
is that
agency.
though? Because you guys have the best world because she sees the before and you as an official see the after. I've had a lot of freelancers who have shadowed with me that sat there and said, "Oh my gosh, this is the end of what we took the deposition on, all the time." So how cool is that you can share that?
I know, and that's actually what I really loved about it in the beginning was getting to see the entire life cycle of a case. Cameron was
Yeah,
doing these depots, and then I would go on and do the trial, and it was like we could talk about these things that were going on ahead of trial and discovery and kind of crazy witnesses or things that were going on, and then
right.
how it all played out. And the funny thing is these attorneys a lot of times thought they even had the same court reporter from beginning to end because we're identical twins. So they just thought that was the greatest thing, you know? They just got,
Oh
I have the
my
same reporter. I've
God.
been with the same reporter from
I
the
did
beginning.
not even think about that. That would be so great.
We were sharing,
I gotta
yeah,
find a doppelganger to
I know.
take over for
We could
me.
share dictionaries and give each other,
Yes.
prepare each other. So yeah, we had some fun with it, let me tell you.
Oh, that's awesome. So, okay, so at that point, you two are building your business. You're doing everything that you need to do to make that happen. And you're having kids and you're married and having kids and
Mm.
all of the life stuff that comes in here. Did you have any problems kind of balancing all that, or were you and your sister able to kind of help hold each other up?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? What was a big help were our husbands and also our parents. They were
Mhm.
so supportive because it was hard. I mean, I had, a young kid at home. Cameron was pregnant, I think, when we started the agency. And so yeah, I mean, we were juggling all of this. And also for me, the fear of I went from having a very good salary within, for working for the LA Superior Court to all of a sudden no salary. I'm out there hustling, trying
Yeah,
to make money on these jobs all of a sudden.
right.
And um and so it was very, very scary. And we're trying to build clients. We're kind of hiding the fact that we started this agency from our other agencies that we were working with because we didn't want them
Right.
to stop giving us work 'cause we weren't quite ready to completely break free. And so it was just these baby steps, but my parents really helped. They were babysitting our
That's
kids.
good.
They would meet us. We'd go try to get clients. My parents would meet us in the parking lot of an office. We'd give them the address. We'd hand over the kids. My mom would bake these cookies. We'd go walk upstairs, talk to the client, and they would see these kids running around in their parking lot and they'd be like, what's with these kids in the parking lot? My son was always dressed up in a Spider-Man outfit and you could just see him running across. And we were like, gosh, that's weird. I have no idea who those kids are.
God,
And
these
so
parents,
because
listen.
those parents, man, where are these kids? So we would, yeah, I mean, so that's what my parents would go with us from office to office.
Yeah.
They'd watch the kids. We went up, and my mom had all these little cookies. So my mom's cookies kind of became famous. They loved them. But yeah, I mean, we just had a
Oh.
lot of support, and my
Well,
husband really
so,
helped us.
well, what happened with LA Superior Court? Did it turn into something to where the attorneys would have to hire their own court reporter? They just didn't have officials, quotey fingers.
Right. So they didn't have officials. So
Okay.
they went from just going to court and there was a court reporter there and they didn't pay extra for it. There was a court reporter there that was making a transcript of everything that was said all day, every
Hmm.
single motion, every trial, never had to think about it. And then they would just
Yeah.
call you and order a transcript if they wanted one. Now it was all privatized. So if they wanted anything recorded, they had to find a court reporter, call an agency or, and find them, say, hey, can you come in? And now they're getting billed and they're having to pay for their own reporter for every single motion, every
Mm.
trial. So it was tough. I mean, and it was it
So
was
how
a
did it change? How did it go back to where they hire officials?
it's all privatized. There's only like I mean in California there's only court reporters in criminal courts and family law. Actually, from family law now we are covering trials. And yeah, so little by little
No
they are
civil.
no civil. No, it's all
Mm.
privatized. And so they still have court reporters in all the criminal courts. So, and probate and some family law proceedings. It's all privatized. So attorneys are used to it now. And it honestly, it really worked out, I think, better for the court reporters. I think that we make more money like that. We
Hmm.
kind of dictate the pricing and we make our own schedules, but you're still making that court money, you know?
Sure. But what about those the people that are coming out of school that want to be officials? They're not quite, they don't get the civil stuff, which I know civil pays better than
Yeah.
criminal here in North Carolina, especially. But how is that affecting them? I mean, because they have to be in court every day, I'm assuming.
Hmm.
So if somebody called up, and if you as a firm, you and Cameron either called up somebody and said, "Hey, can you cover something?" and they say, "I can't cover that civil because I'm in criminal," right?
Right. So yeah,
Mm.
there's court reporters that work for the county, and in fact, there's they still need court reporters. I get the letters all the time in the mail from courts all over California saying that they're hiring, they're giving incentives, they're paying off your school loans, they're doing
Wow.
signing bonuses. I mean, court reporters are in very high demand in court right now, but they are mostly, there is going to be a criminal courtroom that you're going to be in, a probate, and maybe family law. But
Hmm.
if you want to do civil, then you got to go the private route. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely still high demand. You can still go to court. And the funny thing is, when I went to court, I wanted to be a criminal court reporter. I was like, I'm going to do felony murder trials. That was what I was going to do. And
So much more exciting.
yeah, I was like, that's what I want to do. And so I used to read true crime all the time. This was, this
Me
was
too.
also very exciting to become a court reporter. I was like, that's what I'm going to do. And of course, I
Yeah.
wind up in family law. I ended up just loving this one judge. His court reporter retired. He asked me to stay, and I wound up my entire career in family law. But
Oh, that's
yeah,
amazing, though. But I look at it too as there are so many people now because of I guess my association with NVRA and people trying, and I have a lot of students. So I have a mentor mentee Facebook page that I have over 180 people that I email for meetings. They come on there, they talk about what they need, these students. But I believe that you can be a mentor no matter where you're at in your journey. So there's always somebody that's gone a step beyond you or a step in the direction that you want to be. So
very
everybody
true.
can be a mentor to somebody. So when I try to do these meetings as much as I can, a lot of it is about it. I want to work freelance. I want to get my CSR in California because they are so high in demand right now. They pay better, they do whatever. So, do you find that there is an influx of people from out of state wanting to get certified in California?
Yeah,
And
actually, we
is
get
it going to change?
yeah, I mean, we get a lot of emails and calls from people out of state that are looking for work because we have a lot of work, we pay better, and people are now they're accepting voice writers. You can get certified, you get your
Mhm.
CSR now in California. So it's people are wanting to come to California and
Yeah.
report. Um, the problem is right now is because we've never had voice writing in California. It is
Mhm.
such a new thing, and
Yeah.
everybody is discovering it for the first time. These attorneys have never seen it before. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's definitely, it's exciting because we need more court reporters. We are,
Absolutely.
yes, but
Yeah.
oh, sorry, go ahead, Kim.
No, I was just going to say that, I'm a real-time voice writer. I can read off of my screen what I took down a minute and a half ago. I can go back as far as you need and I can read that question to you. That's why those certifications were so important to me. And I've had a lot of students come to me lately. I apologize if you hear my dog in the background. My husband comes in and she goes on attack.
Oh
So
no.
yeah, so I have a lot of students that come to me, and they are afraid of a lot of things, but reading back is the main thing. So
Mm,
if we can take that in with what we said about digital, I think that's the big difference. Now, will it catch up to us? I'm sure it will, but I don't think it'll be at the same gold standard that we as real time writers expect, right? So I
yep,
think there is room out there for two methods and one gold standard. We can put these two together. And students are afraid right now that AI is going to take over and take their jobs.
I know. We get that all the time. People are scared. I I don't see it happening anytime soon. I mean, there's just
Mhm.
too many things, too many. You still really need that human element. I mean, what's funny is AI, they're taking over a lot of different things in the legal field. I mean, just like for attorneys writing motions, discovery, all that
Right.
stuff. I'm just depo summaries, all this AI technology. Yet it really cannot. Yet court reporting for some reason just still is not. They can't figure it out because you
I
still
know.
really need that human element. There's just too many variables that go
Yes.
on in a courtroom setting or a deposition setting, and we are so laser focused on this record. And if you don't have that human element, I mean, something could slip through
Something's
the cracks.
yeah.
One thing gets mixed, and gets missed. All of a sudden, it changes the entire
Mhm.
transfer or whatever could the outcome it's of this, this thing that's really important piece of information they needed in this transcript could be gone because of this
Sure.
technology malfunction. So
And
It's
it's happening
important.
all over the country.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the Murdaugh trial in South Carolina, they had three court reporters. They had a machine writer, a voice writer, and then they had FTR in
At the
there
same time?
at the same time.
Really?
Now,
Wow.
from what I understand is the voice and machine, they kind of tag teamed, one in the morning, one in the afternoon,
Got you.
because they were wanting daily copies.
Yep.
And so that way that the voice writer could be working in the afternoon on getting her transcript done. So they
Hmm.
did that, but at all times they decided to pay for FTR to be running in the background the whole time. So I don't know what happened. I remember her being at a conference for NVRA, the voice writer was. And basically, what happened was they decided, you know what, the real court reporters are too expensive. So I'm going to get this transcript of this testimony through FTR. Got it. And you can actually go on YouTube and find this where the attorney says, we just paid $400 for something we cannot even use. You can't even
Oh,
decipher what it said.
I gotta go look this up.
You do.
I
I'll
gotta
send you
say,
I'll email you the link. I'll email you the
please
link.
do, please do.
Yes.
I will
And
post this on my
he
website.
was so hilarious because this is in South Carolina down by Charleston. So we have lots of Southern accents there
Yep.
with these old school attorneys. And this guy was just like, Your Honor, I'm not talking about our fabulous court reporters right here for the state of South Carolina, and we're talking about these, and this is what he said, not me. We're
Yeah.
talking about these Yankees up north that installed this thing.
Oh my gosh,
I
I have
would
to find this.
die. Yes, it
Yes.
is. I'll send it to you, but it's hilarious. But it just
Yeah.
makes the point. And if you are a person who does anything on social media, with Instagram especially and TikTok, you can add the captions in there. The captions are horrific. And I am a voice writer. I speak at a decent pace. I enunciate. I do everything I have to do when I am speaking to people. But they pull this TikTok of me, and I'm like, I did not say that. I didn't.
Yeah.
I want, let me hear the
Yeah,
audio.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I have to say, I think that court reporters get really scared of technology. I think, 'cause, and I remember when I signed up for court reporting school, and this was what, over 20 years ago now. And I remember people go court reporting school. Oh my gosh, that
Yeah,
profession's gonna be
thing in
gone
the
in a couple of
past.
years. Why would you go to
Yeah,
court reporting school? And here I am, and it's going strong. And the thing is, I think technology, I think we do have a fear of it. We've always been
we
told to be
do.
scared of it, that our jobs are going to go away. But I mean, I love it. I think that we should all
Too.
be embracing it. I think it's making our jobs easier. I mean, look at voice writing and
Mhm.
the software that you're on. I mean, just,
Yes.
oh my gosh, just I can edit quicker. There's just so much you can do
Yeah.
with it. I just think we're going to be able to produce transcripts faster. They're going to be cleaner. They're going to be more
Yes.
accurate. I mean, I just think it's just going to make us better. Our real time is
I
getting
think so
better.
too.
The way we
I
can
think so
provide it.
too. You're right.
Yeah.
And
So,
you have to count on your fingers not giving out on you. I have to count on my voice not giving out on me. But even my biggest fear is, and it comes and brings on my test anxiety, um, is what if my software fails while I'm
hmm
taking a test? I did everything and this is really for real time. So we have an RVR, real time verbatim recorder, and an RVRM, which is your master, which is you're at federal speeds, 200 words per minute at 96%. So I could be wrong on that. Anywhere between 95 and 97%
okay.
accurate federal, 200 words per minute. You can't edit afterwards. You can't do anything. It's one and done, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I've taken it twice. I can do my 180 and I can do 3 sections and pass it and get it done. But that 200 words a minute, man, in one shot. And I've had times where, oh my gosh, I listen to my voice file and it's wonderful. I understand every word I'm saying. I'm not rushing. I'm not doing anything. But the frickin' eclipse decided to go on a picnic, somewhere. And I'm like, no.
Oh my gosh.
It's
Yes.
terrifying. And I
Oh,
don't
it
know if
is.
Tori Pittman, but she is my mentor and she lives literally 45 minutes from me. And I remember she has the worst technology issues, and she was taking her RVRM, and you have to do 5 out of 8 minutes has to be at that 97 percentile, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And she's watching her timer. She set up a timer and she's watching it and she's like, oh my God. And she's watching her takedown. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. I've got this. And it went black.
Oh gosh, that's my worst nightmare.
Like with a minute to go,
Oh
right? You
my
got that one
gosh,
minute. So
no.
it can happen to anybody.
It
It
can
can
happen to
happen,
anybody.
yes.
Oh my gosh, I've had issues. I've been in the middle of trials and my software just shuts down and
Yes.
I'm just machine writing
Yeah, for the
and
fun.
uh and I just yeah, all right, and then I have to transfer these notes later on. I mean, it
Yes,
happens
I
and
do
I just
too.
you know what? Everybody understands we all have technical issues. I
Mhm.
can't even tell you how many remote motions I've done. I've signed on and how many attorneys have issues and we all have to take a break. I mean, nobody really
Well, and
cares.
that's what I keep saying. It's not like it's a Broadway musical, and if you miss your mark, everything
Yeah.
goes to hell in a handbasket. We can stop the recording.
Yeah, excuse
Everybody
me.
rewind. Yes, and let's do
Yeah.
this. But I was telling you about the Murdaugh trial, and I will send that to you. But I don't. If you can't say names, don't say names. But what do you think is because you're in LA? What do you think is the most? All right, I'm going to do this in two parts. The most famous, either deposition or trial that you did.
Oh, okay, the biggest, most famous trial that I did was I did the McCourts, who are the owners. They were the owners of the Dodgers. So I did their divorce
Yes.
trial, and it was the biggest case of my career. It was huge, and we had the Dodger owners divorcing, and we had to get transferred to this giant courtroom to fit all the media. There was so
Mhm.
much coverage. It was a circus. They were a pretty fascinating couple, and they owned so much property. And see, I don't know if the people that are listening who know
I
Los
have
Angeles, they
I
will
have so
know
many
the Dodge.
California
Okay,
reporters.
then they will know the Dodge. This was a big deal, and so that was a really big case. It was kind of the most stressful thing I've ever done because
Mhm.
we had attorneys from all over the country that were working on this case. They bring us down to this big courtroom to fit the media. These attorneys I've never worked with, they were intimidating, and I had never done any real time or anything like that. And
Mhm.
anyone out there listening that has done family law, our trials were only a day, 2 days at the
Yeah.
most, mostly a half a day. They're very short trials. So now all of a sudden we're going to be doing a 2 to 3 week long family law trial, very complex. And the attorneys call me up and they say, hey, we want real time. We're going to want dailies. We want same day roughs. Can you do it? And I said, yeah, yes, I can.
Sure.
Absolutely. Of course I can. I have a panic attack because I'm like, I've never done real time in my life. I've only done a daily where it's on a 1 day trial before. So I was like, what have I done?
So now the
And
tequila comes in
yeah,
again.
so
You're
the
taking
tequila comes in. Yeah, that's what, and I bring out the nice bottle of tequila. And so
Yes.
I panic. I start Googling, how to do real time. What
Yeah.
do I do? And so I find a real time class. I could get certified as a certified live note reporter. It's called a
Oh, yeah,
CLR.
yeah.
And so it was really a certification on how to use the software, which is what people were using at the time. And so I go and I buy all the material. I go take this weekend crash course. I start trial on Monday. So yeah, I'm hooking, and this is back before you could do everything,
Yeah.
Bluetooth and
Online.
everything. And
Yeah.
so I had to physically,
Attached cords.
attach these cords to every single attorney there, and we get going. And it was terrifying. But that first day, I remember I start going, and I was just nervous, and I had one of the attorneys was Mr. Boyes, Boisbe or something, and
Mhm.
I had created a brief for him, but I actually wrote it as Boy, came back for the S, and so it came out as Boys, Mr. Boyes. Well, this attorney stands up and he goes, "Excuse me, Your Honor, your reporter just wrote just wrote boys, but we're not talking about their boys. We're talking about Mr. Boys." And I mean, I turned bright red. I was mortified. And luckily,
Holy
my
cow.
judge was amazing. And he said, "Have you
Yeah.
never used real time before? I mean, there's going to be
How
mistakes. If
much
you
does
can't
this
handle
matter?
it, yeah, if you can't handle this, then you shouldn't be doing real time." And so he put him in his place. Anyways, after the nerves kind of went away, by the end of the 2 weeks, this was I've got my briefs. I'm feeling good.
Yes.
I've got my routine. I've got this amazing scopus. They're knocking these dailies
Yes.
out. And by the end of the trial, that same attorney came up to me and he shook my hand and said, "I got to tell you, that was some of the best real time I have ever seen. I could have printed that out
Oh,
and it would
that's
come out perfect." But
amazing.
yeah, that was exciting. It was a big case.
Once he got over his whole
Yeah,
name change,
yeah,
whatever.
yes. But yeah, so that was my biggest case, biggest trial, biggest money making trial. But I
Yes.
also in family law, I had the Britney Spears case for years. I
Yeah.
had Mel Gibson. So I had a lot of really big,
Yeah.
fun, exciting cases. Now,
That's the thing about me is, I live in the mountains in North Carolina. If one of the Hatfields or McCoys comes by to
yeah.
want a transcript, yeah, yeah. No, but I have not done a capital murder trial yet. And I've been doing this for no, almost 9 years, and not as long as you have, but this was my second life. So for me, when I did a double murder trial that wasn't capital, but it was a double murder trial, that was my big one. That was
Okay, yeah.
so that was 18 days. And I don't know if they do it the same in California, but North Carolina, every day is a volume of transcript. And so I had 18 volumes, and the appellate attorney called me after I sent her like 3 emails with, six transcript volumes per one. And she called me and she goes, "What is this?" And I said, "It's your trial that's on appeal." She goes, "I know, but it's 18 volumes." And I said, "I know, but it was my problem. Now it's yours. Have fun."
Have fun. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I couldn't imagine. I mean, so I lucked out because I really never did that heavy. I did some pretty, once I was laid off and I was doing some big civil trials, and I definitely, I had some pretty big, uh,
Yeah.
we wait 3, 4 week trials. But yeah, I knew there was a reporter that I worked with when I was an official. She had the longest trial in Los Angeles history, I think. I think that this trial went on for a year more.
Oh
And
my
so then
God.
it went on appeal. And I remember it was a lot. It was a lot. It went on appeal. So I can't even tell you how many volumes it was. It was just something absurd. I mean, she had to get a special truck to get all of these transcripts turned into the appellate courts. I mean, it was insane. I said, "How much did you make on that appeal?" She said she made, I think, $170,000
Oh
on that
my
appeal.
God.
I've just never heard of
Oh
such a
my
thing.
God. I can't, no, I cannot even imagine. I mean, I listened to that. I mean, I'm supposed to do a med mal this year that is supposed to go for 6 weeks. So that
Oh,
will be my longest trial up to that point. But
yeah.
I've known people that work here in North Carolina, and I'm sure everywhere, that work capital trials. It takes them 6 weeks to pick a jury.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it
That's even
takes
before
weeks.
testimony, and
Yep.
it's like,
Yep.
and everybody is scared to death of jury voir dire. So it's like, it the thing about it is once you've got your dictionary ready, and your mouth, for me, my mouth is doing the right thing, it hits the right briefs and
Hmm.
says what I need to say. Just when I get good at it, then we're switching to testimony, and I'm like,
I know.
"No, I got this.
I
I
know.
got this finally." And I love testimony. Testimony is the whole reason why I wanted to be in court and really feel that kind of intense, because I felt when I did a couple of depositions, it was kind of like, "Yes, okay, yeah, that happened." But in court, it's like, "Yeah, oh my God, Your Honor, I bent over and somebody shot me." And, it's like,
Right.
"Oh."
Yeah. Well, court is so fun because that's where they put on the
Yeah.
show. That's when
Yes,
everything's there. They're putting out their best evidence, the best testimony, and
exactly.
they're putting on their show, and it can be
Hmm.
so exciting, especially if you're working with really good attorneys. And I have some
Yeah.
clients that I just absolutely love to do their
Yeah,
trials because it's like a show,
it
and
is.
I just have so
But
much fun. And
see,
I
here's the problem. I can't eat popcorn and take down testimony at the same time. I just can't. I would
uh,
choke to death on that. Well, you're in a unique situation because you live in a place where there is a lot of high profile things. How do you deal with that with the media? I mean, the media is relentless. And I'm going to go to the Karen Reed trial and everything that happened in there. And that poor voice writer was caught. I don't know if you've seen it. She was caught when the judge asked at like 4:45 at night, how much longer do you have on this voir dire? There was no jury in there. It was just voir dire outside the presence of the jury. And the judge was like, how much longer do you have? I don't want to keep, moving the jury in and out. And now it's time to leave. And here's whatever. And he said something that is pretty inaudible. But then the voice writer was caught going, because there's a million cameras in that courtroom. And they got her doing that. And people are just tearing her up on the internet. And I'm like, look, God bless her. This is a second trial. This is a second trial. Everybody's already heard everything, and she's probably going, oh, sweet Jesus, somebody just take a Xanax.
I mean, I think we're all guilty of
We
that
are.
face, that sigh, that, oh, let this be
Yes, but we don't
over.
have the whole pool of,
No.
paparazzi everywhere.
Oh my
God, it just
gosh.
made me feel so bad. But
Oh, I feel bad for her. Yeah.
I do
Normally
too. It's
you're just
sad.
quietly doing your thing and rolling your eyes. No
Yeah.
one's really paying attention to you, but
No,
she
I
had
mean,
cameras on her.
I think history has shown that nobody knows who the hell we are sitting up there
Yeah.
doing it. They don't care. But if
They
you
don't
roll
care.
your eyeball, you will roll one
Oh,
eyeball.
that's too funny.
You're so
Oh,
unprofessional. And I'm like,
I
she's just
know.
doing everything we all want to do,
Exactly. And we probably all have done. No one just
have
noticed us
done.
before. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
no,
okay.
luckily, none of that for me.
Well, good, good. I'm glad because that to me, it would be just humiliating to deal with
Oh
that.
yeah. Well, I've never been in a courtroom where they've allowed cameras or any kind of recording. I've been there where they allow the media to sit in and they can take notes and
Still
then, and they
pictures. Yeah.
but luckily and not even no photos or anything. That's just they
Mm-mm.
can only take notes. So luckily, I mean, I could have easily been in that same situation if cameras had been on me.
Absolutely. I just don't understand why judges. Now, I understand. I've been in trials where they allowed still photography. You cannot point your camera at the jury at all. You're not allowed to. But so they'd get the back of my hair where I'd like have a rat's nest or something. I'm like, oh my God. But no, I've been in trials like that, and you just kind of ignore it, and you just don't want to deal with it. But I just can't imagine being in that situation, which you're kind of used to it now, having cameras pointing at you all the time at
True.
your second job.
True. I
How
know.
did you, let's tell everybody first of all, how did you get into that? How long ago and what happened to bring you into that situation?
On Judy Justice, how I got
Yeah,
onto the show. So yeah, so I report for Judge Judy on Judy Justice, and we just wrapped our fourth season. And
awesome.
so yeah, I've been doing it for a few years now, but it's funny how they found me because I was well, I guess Judge Judy, when she retired, Amazon picked her up and said, "Hey, we want to start a show with you. We want your following to come to our streaming
Hmm.
platform." And so she said, "Well, if I'm going to do a new show, I want it to be different. I want it to be more like a real courtroom setting. So I want a court reporter that can do read back. I want a court clerk that can do research and my bailiff." So I said, "Okay." So so the executive producer, she had to find a court reporter, and so she finds LACRA, which is the LA County Court Reporters Association, and she calls them
Hmm.
up, and they are the union that represents the court reporters that work for the counties, for the officials. And so
Okay.
she said, "Hey, we're looking for a court reporter to do this show. Do you know any court reporters that would want to do this?" They said, "Well, our court reporters all work for the county. They couldn't take any days off to tape. You're going to need an independent contractor." So she said, "You know what? You should try Whitney Kumar. She's a freelancer now," because I used to work for LA Superior Court and I was on the LACRA board and I still had all my connections. I still I was still very connected with all those people. And so they gave my name. And so the executive producer called me and said, "Hey, these people gave us your name. Would you be interested?" And I said, "What, on a show?" I was kind of just taken aback. It was just nothing I ever really saw coming,
Well,
and
who does? I mean,
yeah.
Unless you spent your court reporting days tap dancing around while
Right.
you're
Yeah,
working on your machine. I mean, who'd have thought?
exactly. Yeah, I would have thought I was, I'm just this little quiet person in the courtroom. And
Yeah.
so I said, okay. She said, well, can you send us a little video of what you look like and sound like? Because this was during COVID time. And so they weren't doing, I couldn't go meet them in person. So my husband's like, this
But
is so
how
cool.
funny. I'm sorry, Whitney. How funny is it that they can say, we want to know what you look like?
Yeah. Well, I know what
Because,
you look like,
yeah,
sound like. Yeah.
yeah,
No,
look like, wait a minute. No, you're not allowed to say that.
I know. So I said, well,
Sorry,
okay.
sorry.
I was nervous. I thought, I don't know if this is something I want to do. And so my husband was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. You have to. I'll help you put a video together. So that night he helps me put this little video together. He's asking me questions and I'm changing outfits. He has me on my machine. He's got the kids hugging me and he stitches it together with his background music. It was
Wow.
so nice. It was so professional. I was like, oh my gosh, it was
Good
almost
Lord.
embarrassing to send in. It was so good. So then I send it in. He's very creative, and so I send it in to the executive producer. I said, okay, well, here I am. And the next day, I got an email from her that said, hey, we sent your video to Judy last night. And we woke up to an email saying, you're perfect. She doesn't even need to
Oh,
meet anybody else. Do you want to do it? And I was like, what?
are you
Are you
kidding me?
serious? And so next thing you know, I'm signing this 6 season contract with Amazon, and I'm just kind
Wow.
of like, what just happened? And
And
so
what year was this in? 4 years
this
ago?
was, yeah, 4 years ago. Yeah, it was during the COVID time. Yeah,
Okay,
four
gotcha.
years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I started work on the show. And so yeah, and I really thought that I was going to be this quiet person sitting in the well, and it was almost more for show. And so my
Hmm.
first day I get there and they go, okay, this is where you're going to be sitting. And I say, what? I'm going to be sitting right there next to Judy. They're like, oh yeah, you're right next to her, you're on stage, you're going to be in opening credits, you're a cast member, you're going to be talking, she's going to ask you to read back. And I was like, oh my gosh, what have I done?
What
And
have I done?
what have I done? It's too late now. There's no going back. So I started doing it and it's been so fun. It's definitely took some learning and some adjusting being in front
Sure.
of the camera and watching my
Right.
facial expressions.
Oh, couldn't. I couldn't
But
watch it. I just couldn't stand to see myself. God, I
oh my
mean,
gosh. Yes,
but
it's
you're
tough.
you're like a supermodel anyway,
Oh
looking. So
gosh.
I'd be this poor old lady just
Well, you know what? We're not, as core reporters, we're not used to our look thinking about our
Mm-mm.
faces. We're just sort of focused. And you're
No.
hanging on to every word. But the first couple tape days, our director came up to me and he said, "Hey, Whitney, you're looking a little, serious when can you kind of have like a soft smile on your face when you report?" And I go, "Oh, okay."
Sure.
I never thought about what my face looked like. So now I'll be writing and I'm trying to keep up, and I'm like also in my head thinking soft smile, so I've got so much going on in my head. But sometimes when I've watched the show and I can see my face, I go, oh my gosh, I'm so mortified because I have that court reporter face.
How can you do that? I mean, we can sit there and we can have interruptions and butting in and we can do all that, but I don't know how I would be able to sit there and go soft smile and take down the record at the same time. Soft smile. Wait, wait, I lost it. I would like be 3 sentences behind. I
Oh
don't
my
know what
gosh.
that is.
Oh, it's I'm telling you, it's tough. Now, 4 seasons in, I've got it down, but it was
Yeah.
definitely tough the first season. And then it's like you see the cameras and they have a camera right behind me that is just pointing at my screen. So if you watch the show, sometimes you can see my real
Oh,
time.
nice.
And when I read back, it'll zoom in on my screen and so you can
Make sure you
see.
got you right.
Yeah, and so I've seen it before. I'm like, oh my God, there's an error, and
Yeah.
it freaks me out. But yeah, definitely took some like breathing
Well,
exercise and
that
then being ready.
that might be why I get people that say that as far as readback goes with steno machines, they're like, "Oh my God, how does she read back?" But then there's people who don't know what it is that we do that are like, "What is this coming up on your
Yes,
screen? What is this language?" And you have to explain to them, "This is steno, and this is blah blah blah."
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I get that question a lot, and a lot of people, I see a lot of comments on social media and on the internet. People don't realize what I'm doing, and they think
Yeah.
I'm either typing on a regular keyboard or that I'm an actor and I'm just kind of faking it.
Hmm.
And but yeah,
Yes.
people are always surprised when I start reading back. People will ask me, and it's kind of funny. A lot of the audience members will at the end of the taping, they'll ask, "Hey, can we see your machine? What are you really writing everything? Are we? You're that was
Yeah.
amazing when you read back." And so people are really fascinated
They
by
are. They
what
really,
I'm
I mean,
doing.
people think I'm on oxygen. They've actually, when the judge, after a verdict, my judge will go back and talk to the jurors, and just say how their experience was, etc. And he'll say, "Does anybody have any questions for me?" And they're like, "Yeah, is that girl okay? That was in front. She's on oxygen. Is she okay?" And he's
Oh,
like, "No,
that
that's
is
got microphones." And so she's literally speaking everything that everybody is saying in the courtroom. And it just makes them so wonder. They're like, "Oh my God, they thought I was dying," but yet nobody
that is
called
too funny.
911.
No,
No
yeah,
one
no one.
called 911.
They obviously weren't that concerned.
Not that concerned.
Uh,
It was still interesting to watch my real time come down in front,
yeah,
but
yeah. But
it's
yeah, I
so,
love that.
yeah.
I love that. And when I do trials, I can't even tell you at the end of a trial how many people come up to me and ask me if they can see what I
Yeah.
do. They go, "Can I? We've been just all of us jurors have been talking
Mhm.
about it." And every time I've had to do readback in a jury room, they request readback, and I go back to the jury and I read the portion they've requested.
Mhm.
I swear to you, almost every single time I get they clap for me. Like I put
Yeah.
on a performance for them. They just
Yes.
they start clapping and they just can't
You
believe like
take your
this is she.
bow. Thank you.
Yeah, well, my gosh, well, thank you. They just find it
Yeah.
fascinating, and I love
But
that. And
that
then
is
you,
so reassuring to you. It's so reassuring for everybody who's curious about that. But then again, I don't feel like they should be curious about this. They should know what this profession is, and that's kind of been where my goal has been to do. And by bringing all of you guys, people, I was leaving today, and he goes, "Are you done for the night? Or are you going home to work?" And I said, "Well," I said, "I'm not really working." I said, "But I have an interview tonight." And he said, "An interview?" I told him about the podcast, and I said, "Y'all are going to think I'm a geek, but I am going to be interviewing Whitney Kumar." And they're like, "Who?"
who?
I said, "Oh my God, it's Judge Judy's court reporter." "Oh, Judge Judy, yes." It's
Oh man.
fascinating to me, and that's why every one of you guys that come on here and talk to me and talk, you're not talking to me, you're talking to the students. I have students that email me constantly, and they really want to know how to get this way. And I had a conversation with a, a couple of schools, one or two of them in California, one in Arkansas, and we talked about where everybody felt that everything was going. Are we going to be able to be united together as
Hmm.
machine writers and as voice writers? We can come together and make it successful. So, what do you think? I mean, you been around a lot of voice writers?
Not too many because I'm just starting. We're just starting to use voice writers in California. They're now allowed to get certified here, which has been very exciting because we need more reporters. As
Yeah.
you know, there's a shortage here in California, so it's nice that instead of going digital, we can offer voice reporters.
Hmm.
So, we're happy. We're really happy to see them, but I gotta say, I did see, like, I don't know what it is about machine reporters and voice writers. Yeah, you're right. We need to get on the same
Yeah.
page.
Right.
I think especially in California, machine writers is kind of, it's always been the way. And I think it's something new. It's like, well,
Hmm.
what's this voice writing thing all about? And so I've
Well, and I'm
definitely,
sure the pen writers felt that way when you guys walked
exactly.
in with that machine, and they're like, "Oh no, you're not
E-
real."
Exactly. And I do think that voice writing is the future. And you can get through school so much quicker. You
Hmm.
guys are providing real time. You're doing the same things and you're not having to go to school for 5 years,
Yeah,
to be a machine writer. So I think it's pretty exciting to see how
I think
quickly
so
you can get out
too.
of school and learn this and get out there and be
I,
working.
I
But
think
I'm
people
excited.
just people need to learn how to just. embrace what it is that we do. But was the first time you saw real time from a voice writer from me?
Yes, yeah. So yeah, was that? What conference was that?
That
That
was
was
Palm Springs, not last year, but the year before, so 2 years ago.
okay. Yeah. So yeah, and I didn't know that that anyone was going to be providing real time, and then I thought that was so cool that it was going to be a
Sucked it
voice
in on
writer
you.
because I haven't had really any experience with voice writers
Yeah.
because we didn't have them here in California, and so that was really cool to see you doing real time and up there, and I thought
Look,
that was so
my
neat.
husband tells me all the time I've got a spring-loaded right arm. When anybody says, "Hey, do you wanna?" It just fly. I'll do it, And when I got
That's
called and said,
awesome.
hey, would you not be scared to go out and show a bunch of machine writers what it is that you do and provide real time? Well, at first it was just going to be the meeting, the business meeting. And that's when I told you a little bit that somebody grabbed out this thing and put in a USB into my computer as I was getting ready to real time
Yes. Oh,
something, and it was terrifying, and I'm like, no, no, don't touch this. But they did, and I said a couple of words like hello, hi, how are you. I didn't do punctuation, I didn't do briefs, I didn't do any of that, and I'm looking up at the two big screens that were in there, and it was coming up fine, and I'm like, okay, cool, this is good. Well, behind me, I had a group of friends that I met during convention. Two of them were captioners, and then two were voice reporters. And I started saying, well, while I'm waiting, I'll practice. And I start saying, so I say keek for questioner and cack
oh,
for answer. So I say keek,
okay.
it's one syllable. It's keek, cack, keek, cack. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so it makes you go fast. So I look up as I said keek, and it spelled something really weird. It spelled keek. It did not have my Q. And I'm like,
Oh,
oh, this is terrifying. Well, I turn behind me and everybody's eating their salads and rice and chicken out in the
yeah.
audience, and I'm freaking out. And every cuss word that my ancestors said was coming out of my mouth. And I look over and my friends are moving up. They're moving up and they're like, what happened? And they're helping me. And they're all, just amazing women helping
I
women,
love
right?
that. Yeah.
And they're like pulling cords. And I'm like, and she said, no, the only thing you can do now is just show them your eclipse screen, your real time. They
Yeah.
wanted it to be a caption of who was doing what. And, Mary Smith is now vice president and brought the cookies today,
Right.
whatever. And so I I said, I can't do this for Whitney. I said, they're showing pictures of her family. That's what she's there for, to bring, who she is here. I can do this person who, may or may not have contributed $10 to the workman's fund or something, And I'm not going to sit there and look at their picture of their dog. So they're going to see my real time. And we just took everything out. So they saw
Oh my
raw real time
gosh.
coming down, and I was like, screw it, I don't care. And then afterwards I have the like 10 voice writers that are there, these little students, come up and take pictures like I was Whitney Kumar or something.
I love that. Yeah, you're famous in the voice reporting world.
It was hilarious. I'll say somebody goes, I saw your video on YouTube, and I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? I
I
don't
love that.
remember, but when
Oh,
it came to yours, because I had those women there for me when we took the break from that meeting before yours, they grabbed my computer, they grabbed me. The selfie people are still taking pictures. It was nuts. And we go into the bar, and at like 3 o'clock, and I said, I got to have a glass of
yeah.
wine.
I need that
Have a glass
tequila.
of wine. Yes. Oh Lord, I would have been taking your real time down with my head on the
Oh
table.
my gosh.
But they plugged in this and did that, and we were able to get your pictures up there and with
Oh,
my
I love it.
captioning going out. So it
Yeah,
just
it
it's
all worked
amazing.
out and it looked
Yeah,
great. And you know what? Don't you just love that court reporting community? I
it
swear,
is.
I feel so lucky to be part of this community. There is
Mhm.
something so unique about it, and I can't even explain it. There, we and like and I think that like all of our husbands, wives, partners, anyone
Yeah.
that's with a court reporter knows
Mhm.
there is something a little weird about us. We're very connected. We love each other. We support each other. We
Exactly.
feel there's something about like the pride that we take in our job. I think is so
Yeah.
unique from other professions, just and the fact that that group of reporters stepped in, helped, jumped in. Like I just feel like that's what we do, you know. Or
Yes,
you send out
I
an
agree.
emergency Facebook text or a text message saying
Yeah,
my software's acting up. Anyone, and I mean every reporter will be
right
like,
away.
I'm on my way.
Yes.
I'm on my way. Yeah, and we just love this
Right. And
community.
I have, and you are very, very active on the circuit of conventions and talking to people. I know you're going to NVRA this year.
I am
Unfortunately, my darling, I
speaking.
can't
I'm
go.
speaking. Oh, you won't be there.
No,
No.
I have radiation and some treatments, so
Oh.
it's very hard for me to fix it in. But I hate that I'm not going, but it's in your backyard, right? So you
It's
need to
down,
go.
yes, and I the reason why, I didn't even tell you, my sister-in-law is now a voice reporter.
Oh,
Yeah, and she got into
great.
court reporting because of me. She started on the machine, and then she transitioned into voice. She lives in Florida, but she does court, she logs in remotely. I forgot what state
Hmm.
she mostly is working in, but or doing motions for in their calendar. But yeah, she's the one that kind of got me connected with it, and she was
Good.
staying with us a few weeks ago, and she actually I got to sit in and watch her take down testimony and stuff, and she let me watch her, so I actually saw her doing real time, and
Oh,
so that was a
great.
really cool experience for me. But yeah, she's the one. She'll be there, and I get to hang out with
Darn
other
it.
voice reporters and meet everybody, and so I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to it.
I wish like crazy that I could go, but I just could not. And every time I fly out west, I get pneumonia. I have such
Oh
a,
no.
I was in Vegas teaching a class, and then when I was out in Palm Springs, same thing. I went home and I got pneumonia or I got
Oh my
COVID
gosh.
here. So it's like, okay, let me get through my treatments and get my immune
Yes.
system built back up again. And then I want to be back out because I miss it so, so much. I miss going out there and really, I love the beginners. Nothing against working court
Same.
reporters, they're best, but the beginners and oh,
Oh, they're the best. They're the best. I love
they
I
are the
love
best.
mentoring. I love working with the students or newbie reporters, and it's
Yeah.
just there's just so much to learn. They're so excited still about the profession, and I
Well,
love it.
and you know what, they're going to love the fact that how much you support them and your understanding about what the change and everything that's going on, because you have been, and I literally could talk to you for another hour, but I promise you it would only be an hour on a work day. I got to be in court tomorrow too. So,
Oh, yep.
but but I really think that it's something that we can continue to talk about and work together and bring everybody together united.
Yes.
I don't even know where else you can go from where you are at this point. I mean,
We'll see. We'll see. You never know
you're,
where court reporting is going to bring you. I tell
I
you.
know that's true. That's true.
The
And your
the
husband, I
adventures.
love the picture that you posted of your husband sitting there next to or not next to, but right behind to the side of one of
Oh,
the.
yeah, he came to visit me on set, and they said, "Sit in the audience, sit in the audience." And he's like, "No, no, it's okay." And they go, "No." They put him right in front, and then
That's
that's just the funniest
hilarious.
pictures of him. I have the yeah, he's back there. You'll see him on some of the
Well,
episodes.
I think it's amazing where you've gone, what you've done. It's not like you said, you're not out there acting like you're a court reporter. You are a court reporter. You still
Yeah.
are. You always will be. That's
Hmm.
from what I can tell, that's where your heart is. That's where, your passion lies. So I hope that at some point you'll come back on with me again, and I hope at some point we'll be together again at a conference somewhere.
Yes.
I'll
Yes.
ask you the same question I ask other people. Where do you see court reporting in the next 5 to 10 years?
Oh, I think court reporting is just going to get even better. I mean, like I said, embracing technology, I think that we're going to be able to offer even better services, quicker services. I think that attorneys are going to just, value us even more because we're getting them even
Yeah,
quicker turnaround, everything. And so, yeah, I mean, we're going to still be here. I think we're just going to be even better. So, I mean, I
yeah.
love it. I'm
How do you feel about getting certifications? It's a big thing, right?
Yeah, getting extra like more
Yeah.
certifications, like your
I
real
mean,
time.
don't stop.
Oh, don't
Don't.
stop.
Yeah.
Don't stop. Keep getting those certifications, push yourself, and You just you'll be more confident.
Yeah.
You will get better jobs. Don't be scared. I feel like everyone's so scared to do read back or real time. I swear you just got to jump in, just like that
Right.
McCourt trial that I did where I just said yes, and
Yeah.
it ended up being the best thing I ever did. I made so much
Yeah.
money. I really got the confidence I needed. And guess what? I could do it. I didn't think I could, but I did it. And now
That's right.
I only report trials. I only do real time trials now. I don't even really waste my time if I can. I'm
Mm-mm.
like, I want
No,
that
I
extra
wouldn't
money.
either. I
Yeah.
wouldn't
So,
either. Everything you go through, every step of this journey that you're taking, it makes you a stronger, better court reporter, stronger woman, better, you're better for your family because you're confident in what you're doing. And I just think it's amazing what everybody is doing right now with this. And I hope it
I
continues. And I
agree.
don't want those certifications to stop because as many people who are in school, especially California, they test for NVRA in California twice a year. There's over 100 people testing for their CVR.
Mm,
It's ridiculous, but especially for out there, you're going to have an influx of people. So
yeah.
we've got the bodies now, but
Good.
now let's look for the better ones, the ones that are the real time, the ones that can do everything.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what we need. That's what we need. I'm telling you. And guess what? That's when attorneys, they'll find us valuable, and we can't
Right.
stop offering those services. I mean,
Mm-mm.
our attorneys rely on those real times and the dailies and all that. The moment we can't offer that, we don't have reporters that can do those services.
Oh,
They won't need us. They don't. It's like,
no.
well, if you can't do that, so keep on pushing, keep on offering those services. Then you know what? Agencies are going to need you. Attorneys are going to need you, and this
Pretty soon
profession
you
isn't
won't
going
be
anywhere.
scared. Yeah, pretty soon you won't
Yeah,
be afraid anymore. Things are going to be fine. Thank you for that. I appreciate your courage and coming on here. I appreciate everything that you're doing. I hope to see you soon. And
same.
I'm sure we got more to talk about. We'll do that some other time, okay?
Yes, let's do it. Thanks for having me on. It was
Thanks,
fun.
Whitney. It was fun. Thank you.
Yes. Bye, Kim.